Hey, bud, I'm going to read you the rest of your Lost City of the Jedi book. So you can listen to this the next couple nights while I'm on vacation. Ready? Alright. Suddenly, Han Solo saw a gleam of white in the corner of his eye. He glanced toward the object and drew his blaster. A stormtrooper! Han fired a couple times. Chewbacca hurried over to see what the trouble was. Luke propped himself up so he could see. Stop, Han! That's not a stormtrooper. It's a droid I met. His name is DJ, and he's from the Lost City of the Jedi. It's a droid named what from where? Han asked. DJ came towards them. Ken was alongside him carrying his computer notebook. Commander Skywalker, DJ said, you see what a disobedient boy I have been. No matter how many times I tell him not to come to Top World, he keeps coming back. I had to find my computer notebook, Ken said. I didn't know there'd be a fire, and TNTs, and stormtroopers, and... Ken suddenly glanced at Han. He recognized him from pictures he'd seen of the Jedi library. Wow, you're Han Solo, right? Then he looked over at the Wookiee. And you're Chewbacca! Chewie said, confirming that Ken had gotten his name right. We know who we are, kid, Han said. What we don't know is who you are, and what you're doing here. I'm Ken, he replied. And I've always wanted to meet you, Mr. Solo, for just about my entire life. You're one of the best Corellian pilots in the whole galaxy. What do you mean, one of? Han replied. You know anybody better? Snoke Lorian made the trip from back here to the Bespin system in 15 standard time parts, Ken said without even batting an eyelash. The best the Millennium Falcon has ever done is 18 standard time parts. I looked that up in the Jedi library. Han rolled his eyes in amazement. Who was this kid? Okay, I'll admit I'm impressed, Han said, but Snoke Lorian got wiped out in the Battle of Endor. We're talking about living Corellian pilots. Then I guess you're the best, Ken admitted with a smile. You got that right, Han said, and he beamed. Now, I'll tell you what. Chewie and I have flown from one end of the galaxy to the other in the Millennium Falcon. If you or your droid know any way you can escape from this blazing fire pit, we'll give you a free ride to any planet of your choice someday. Han thought about his offer again. Well, almost any planet. Kessel and Hoth are off limits. You've got a deal, Ken said. That is, if it's okay with DJ. Commander Skywalker, DJ said. The flames approach. You and your friends must follow me to safety. With your help, I may be able to stop these fires. To Luke's astonishment, without walking very far through the forest, he arrived at the circular stone wall made of green marble. It's just like in my dream, Luke said. We're at the entrance to the lost city of the Jedi. My Corellian buddies will never believe this, Han Solo said. DJ led them through the opening in the wall. There they saw the circular transport tube. As DJ approached, the door slid open and they all went inside. Hold on tight, DJ warned. You may find this ride a bit disagreeable. The tubular transport dropped so fast, Luke and his friends felt as if their stomachs behind. They plunged through an underground region in total darkness. They kept dropping at an incredible speed, and soon they saw flashes of flickering lights from luminescent rocks. At last they came to a stop at the bottom of the shaft, several miles underground. Luke stepped out and looked around in awe. Here it was, the place he had been searching for, and in this illuminated cavern it still seemed as bright and new as it must have looked when the first Jedi Knights built it a long time ago. Luke tried to take in everything at once. The many dome houses where the Jedi Knights used to live, the platforms filled with equipment of advanced technology, and the transport vehicles and roads made of perfectly cut stone. DJ led them past a huge building with a sign that read Jedi Library. Those of you who live on the surface of Yavin 4 think the weather of this moon is the work of nature, DJ said. But it's not. It's actually controlled from down here, from our Weather and Climate Command Center. They entered the Climate Command building. There, DJ took them down a long corridor as droids hovered by them busily from both directions. Thousands of years ago, DJ continued, Yavin 4 was a cold and barren world. The Jedi Masters who built the Lost City discovered that they could change its climate. All they had to do was find a way for the heat from the core of this moon to reach the surface. And so, DJ explained, they cut many deep shafts into the moon, like the shafts of the tubular transport. The other shafts are designed for releasing steam and heat into the atmosphere. Using the weather and climate control system, the Jedi Knights made this moon grow warm and tropical. This is a picture of the Jedi City, underground. Luke and Han and Chewbacca are pretty amazed by everything. They even seeded its continents so lush rainforests would grow. DJ now led them into a gigantic room that had a huge machine the size of a planetary power generator. This moon is on a cycle, a 6-month dry season followed by a 6-month rainy season, DJ said. The rainy season is due to start in several weeks, but if we could discover the code to speed up the weather cycle, we could start the rainy season now. That would sure douse the fires in a hurry, Han commented, and none too soon. I won't be a happy man if my Millennium Falcon goes up in smoke. DJ opened a control box. We've got to figure out the code, he said. I've searched nearly every file in the Jedi library, but I just can't seem to find it. I had a dream, Luke said. A vision of Obi-Wan Kenobi, he told me. Luke tried to remember what Obi-Wan Kenobi had told him in his dream. Memorize this code, Obi-Wan had said. It's important, so soon be clear to you. But what was the code? Obi-Wan had told him to memorize. Try as he might, Luke couldn't recall it. Luke took a deep breath and then exhaled. He let all of his thoughts flow out with his breath. Then as he inhaled, he felt the power of the Force pouring into him, filling him with energy and power. Suddenly it was there. JE99DI88FOR00CE. I remember the code, Luke exclaimed. Obi-Wan didn't tell me what it was for, but I sure hope it activates the weather cycle. Luke punched in the code and it worked. A screen in the room lit up and showed them what was happening on the surface of Yavin 4. Steam vents opened at locations all over the Yavin moon. The vents forced warm, moist air into the atmosphere, and with astonishing speed, storm clouds began to form everywhere across the sky. Watching the screen, he could see the rain begin to fall. Then there was lightning, a torrential storm sent sheets of water pouring down from the black clouds. Soon the rain began to put out the fires in the forest. In the torrential rainstorm, Triaculus, Grand Moff Issa, and MD made their way back to what was left of their Imperial base camp. Reluctantly, Badgie accompanied them. To his sorrow, with a blaster pointed at his head, he was drafted into the Imperial Army to become a staff physician. As he surveyed the scene of the destruction, Triaculus clutched his jar of kibo seeds and touched his withered right hand to his face. It was no longer the same handsome three-eyed face he had seen before. In Triaculus's rush to get the kibo seeds from Badgie's hut, his face had been horribly burned. Now his face was covered with welts and blisters, and his skin was scorched. Triaculus recoiled in shock at seeing his Imperial strike cruiser had been blasted apart, and every Imperial escort carrier had either been damaged or exploded. All that is but one. In their push to achieve victory, the Rebel Alliance had neglected to destroy a single escort carrier. The glove of Darth Vader, which Triaculus had left in his Imperial strike cruiser, was now laying on the mud on the ground. The rain lashed at Triaculus as he knelt to pick it up. He didn't put it back on, but he kept it. You're going to make me another glove, MD, he said. One that looks just like the glove of Darth Vader. No one must know that I no longer wear the real glove. It's regretful that we didn't find the lost city of the Jedi, my Emperor, Grand Moff Issa said. But if we send enough spies to Yavin 4, they'll keep looking for it until they find it, and perhaps they'll find the Jedi Prince as well. Spin must be destroyed for this attack, Triaculus said. Spin and every member of the Rebel Alliance in the Senate, except... Except whom, Lord Triaculus? Grand Moff Issa asked reluctantly. We'll take Princess Leia alive, Triaculus replied firmly. And then they climbed aboard the remaining escort carrier. Once inside, they activated the power and took off, leaving Yavin 4 behind. Triaculus then laid his head on the back of his chair and closed his eyes. With his face painfully burned and his right hand crippled and withered, Triaculus escaped into a dream of the beautiful Princess Leia. He could see her striking face, her strong but soft features, and he dreamed of making her his queen, the Queen of the Empire. The time had come for Ken to bid farewell to the lost city of the Jedi, and to HC and DJ, the droids who had raised him with devotion. Chip was to remain with Ken and help him when he went to Top World to join Luke Skywalker and become the youngest member of the Rebel Alliance. DJ had always known that the day would arrive when he would have to allow Ken to leave his lost city and go off into the galaxy to live his own life. However, he expected to wait until Ken was at least 20, not 12. But DJ understood that the time was right for Ken to depart. From now on, Luke would give Ken guidance and instruction in the ways of the Force. It was Ken's destiny. Zebo jumped into Ken's arms and licked his face, just like that he had done every single day for years. I'm going to miss all you droids, Ken said. He thought about what he just said and realized that he would probably even miss HC-100 every once in a while. And I'll miss the Jedi Library, he continued, and my dome house, and I'll certainly miss you, Zebo. Life won't be the same not having a Mooka to wake you up every morning. But just think. I'm off to see the galaxy. My adventures with the Alliance have just begun. Luke hoped Ken would always remain enthusiastic, but after he learned more about the real world, And above all, Luke hoped that Ken would remain safe from the vengeance of the Empire. They may have stopped Trioculus from finding the lost city of the Jedi, but Luke knew that the cruel Imperial ruler would never rest until he got even with each and every one of them. And that's the end of this book. I love you, buddy. Hope you have a good vacation.